That was very dramatic. Hey y'all, welcome back to another video here on the From the Farmyard podcast. We are here today at HOA 2023. It is Friday, day one, and it's almost over. But we've seen a lot of good lectures, and we've met a lot of great people. It's been a really fun experience, and we're going to have a bunch of clips all throughout this video.
And as you've probably seen,
Yes,
from the Farmyard Charts,
we're out here representing the channel. Hopefully, get a nice big chunk of subscribers from this. But it's been a great time, and we're super excited to talk more about this and the fun that we've had throughout this weekend. So, enjoy the video.
enjoy these, and we'll see you later.
And yeah, if you can start to become organized at the county level, where it's much easier to know who's doing.
Is it amazing to say, well, goodness, why wasn't it laid up there at the beginning? Soil is incredibly impactable. You can change, so when you're looking at
All right, hey y'all. Today we're going to be talking about HOA and how the whole experience went. We had a ton of fun. It was a blast. We're going to be going over a couple speakers that we saw, that we listened to, the people that we met, all in all, and showing clips throughout the whole thing. But first, I think Zach wants to show us something. Go ahead.
We have from the Farmyard merch.
Guys, we
Very
got
excited.
sweatshirts, and they're so cool. You can see throughout these videos, and if you follow us on Instagram, then you've already seen the pictures, because HOA was, when this goes up, it would be 2 weeks ago. So you've already seen those pictures, and you've seen the everything, but this is just a more in-depth video for YouTube about what happened, what we saw, what we listened to, the overall experience, the people we met, and it was really great, and we were super blessed and fortunate to be able to go and enjoy this event. It was fantastic.
Okay, so we talked about rain precipitation capture. Now let's talk about surface water. So this is water in a creek or something like that that's running across your property. So now I want to capture that, though. I don't want it just to stay down in the creek. I want to be able to pull it up and put it where I want it, okay? So one of the things that we do, anywhere where it's going underneath a road or something like that, and we've got a culvert, then we're having that water drop down into a bucket. Just a second. Okay, so here it is coming out of the culvert and into a cut-off 55-gallon drum, and then off on that 55-gallon drum there is a thing called a cooler drain, and that cooler drain has a hose fitting.
You can buy it at the hardware store. Walk in the hardware store, go back to the plumbing section and ask for a cooler drain. It's 2 rubber gaskets and 2 metal pieces that you're going to drill a hole through your barrel and use the gaskets and these fittings to give you a garden hose size and thread fitting on the outside of your barrel. So this just makes it really easy to hook up a hose to a barrel and be able to take water out of it without dipping under the top.
Make sure you fill your bucket with a lot of rock, because otherwise it's going to, when the big rain comes, it's going to go down to your neighbor's place. So we fill it with a lot of rock, and this has never washed, okay? Now, the problem that you're going to have is it's going to silt up where it goes into the hose fitting. So what we use, and this isn't a very good picture, there is a thing for dryer vents. It's a...
First speaker would be Sean and Beth. And I went to these speakers back in 2022 when we went for the first time. I heard Sean and Beth Doherty. I think that's how you say their last name. I think it's Doherty. Sean and Beth Doherty. Sounds right to me. If it's not, yeah. I'm sorry. Come at me in the comments. Give me a pronunciation, because that's how I know how to say it. Sean and Beth Doherty. And the first year I listened to them, they were great. Just phenomenal. I listened to both of their lectures. Were just really good, and you could tell that this couple was just super passionate about what they do, and they really just wanted to tell others about and just to teach others about the process that they do on their farmstead. And it's just really stinking awesome to see these people doing this and to be able to come out to this event and speak on things that they do. And but yeah, Sean and Beth were great again this year. We're going to talk a little bit about like what their lecture was about, what we found the most useful, and stuff like that. But I think overall it was about passive water systems. Do you want to talk a little bit about that? Because you have the notes and stuff, if you want to cover that.
They did a prayer. Okay, I wrote, this is the first note that I have. They prayed at the beginning, which I thought was really, a lot of people don't do that. A lot of people exclude it, but they did pray at the beginning, and I really enjoyed that. One of my other first notes is inspire others, not just in a educational sense, but inspiring others through Christ as well, which I thought was really, I mean, a lot of people do that, but not to the extent that I feel like they're doing it.
Yeah, and that's what it seriously was. That's what they did. That's why I think I enjoyed them so much, and I connected with them on such a level, because they did have that spiritual aspect to it at the beginning. And to really just open it up into that, it just really like set the mood, and it just really changed the whole way you really looked at this lecture. And that was just in itself was just super cool. I forgot about that. I'm so glad you wrote that down, because that was honestly a really key point to this.
Yes, they did a lot of things. One of their big things was the importance of captured water. No matter how you capture it, they were talking about different ways to capture it, whether it's coming in quickly, whether it's coming in slowly, things like that. I won't talk about everything. If you want to like actually watch their talk, the HOA will have their lectures on there once they come out. But it was IBCs, linking IBCs, how to keep algae out of them, I said linking, but how to link multiple different ones, how to include it in, how to have a biodiverse pasture and just biodiverse everything, which is really important. A lot of people feel like small farms and homesteads are the only places that are still keeping those alive, except for nature, because we're tearing, I mean, outside of my neighborhood, I can attest to this. People are taking out areas that used to be somewhat forested. I'm in the city, so it's not going to be but so forested, but areas where there was more trees, and putting up storage buildings or apartment buildings, things like that. And I realized they're getting a little bit better about things, like places that they've torn down in here. They've added ponds, they've added different things like that. So they are seeing the importance, but they're still just stripping everything, and it's not helping. But Sean and Beth did a really great job of stretching the importance of saying you need to have all aspects to whatever you're doing. You need to have the natural elements. You can have some of the man-made elements, but you need to just incorporate nature back into how it is. I mean, nature's run systems forever, and we just have to learn how to harness from those systems.
And they also incorporated a lot of like permaculture plans as well, like just using what the earth is giving you already. Like he said about capturing the water, that's rain, pulling it straight off the roof into a catching system, which then goes into another filtering system or whatever, and then that waters your animals. Stuff like that, you know, is a permaculture plan. You're using what you have and not letting it go to waste. You know that if you've heard us talk about this before, this is one of our like favorite topics to talk on, because it is so important when you are building a homestead and a farmstead and everything. It's just really it really is a fundamental part of the whole process. And I liked how they tied that in there too, because I mean, permaculture obviously really connects with us because we've done a lot of research on it and we've talked about it a lot. So I think that was another reason where it was just like, wow, this makes sense. And the whole lecture was great. It just made a lot of sense.
Yeah. And a lot of things with like anything with permaculture, and when you're adding the water aspect, like if you're in an area that gets a lot of rain, or you're in an area that gets little to no rain, the permaculture plan with water is how can you keep it on your property for as long as possible? How can you get the most use out of any amount of water that falls? I'll talk a little bit about this. They had underneath the culvert in their ditch for their driveway or however, they had catchment systems to feed water up to other parts of the farm. And the water is already flowing through there. You're just capturing what you can and sending it up to another catchment system to filter it, to do whatever you need to do. How to tap into springs, they talked about that. We weren't going to talk a lot about this, but with permaculture, I won't really talk about it, but if you want to hear more on the permaculture talk, and you can go back and watch the lectures, Daniel Salatin had a lot of really good information on the permaculture principles, and his whole thing was really just using all permaculture principles to lay out your farm, not like the nitty gritty, but larger systems. And it was a really good talk. But Sean and Beth really pulled all of that together with the water systems. And yeah, a lot of good information. And their main thing was be creative. You can catch water however it is. It might not look the best, but you're catching water. You're slowing it down and you're just using what you can.
To encourage people and streamline it, because I feel like if we are on small spaces, we have to do these things. We have to put forth the effort to try to figure out, well, how do we maximize this? Even though succession planting isn't the easiest thing, I think there are ways that you can streamline it. I've got a whole reference in my book. I've actually been...
Okay, so the next lecture, one of the next ones we listened to was Joe Reagan. We already connected from the start because, I mean, same name. I mean, for real. Not spelled the same, but like Reagan. I mean, honestly, connected from the start. Loved her. No, but Joe Reagan, I have actually never heard of her before. I thought we Reagans stuck together, but I mean, Joe, come on. I didn't know about you. No, she was awesome. Super sweet in person too. We got I know you got a picture with her, and just hearing that little conversation, she was really, really sweet. And her lecture was quite good. It was about wasn't it about
maximizing your small homestead.
That's what I thought it was. Okay. So it was about growing in small spaces. And yeah, if you know us, we've talked about that a lot too here on the podcast. So again, I mean, we connected through names, but that in itself was like, exactly. It was a lecture that definitely clicked with me. It made a lot of sense. She did a really good job with getting the points across and, giving a lot of new ideas that I had not thought about before when it comes to maximizing your small space. And it was really helpful and very informational. Very good.
Incredibly. It was maximizing small spaces, obviously, but maximizing your plant production, how she pruned all of her plants and how to best prune to get the most out of your harvest and things like that. Yeah. But a lot of good information from her. One thing that she really stressed is growing hybrids is okay. Because a lot of people, we've done videos on it. We can link those videos, but a lot of people just think that they're genetically modified, which isn't the case. You want to learn more information on that, you can go to our video.
We did a whole video on it, and I think it made a lot of sense. It definitely was eye-opening for me. So if you're interested, I will have that linked at the end of this video. It's
making a schedule and maximizing your space. I've said this a lot, but making a plan, what needs to be done next. Starting a schedule. Like she said that she has weeding Wednesdays. As cliche as that might sound, it's not a bad idea. It gets you out there every single week. You know this has to be done before you can move on to anything else. One thing that she did say, which I really liked, was, or maybe it was a thought that ran through my head, I'm really not sure, but realizing what you do have and using what you have and not dwelling so much on what you don't have, because if you get caught up on that, well, you're going to get into the headspace. I can never grow enough food. I'm not going to have this amount of space right now. You're not going to have that amount of space right now. Like me, if it was up to me and not my parents who own this place right now, I would have garden beds all along this front yard. but no. As much as I want to, I really want to. I would have them right there, but it would look nice. Maybe not, but if it was up to me, that's what I would do. But it's doing things like that. And one thing that I'll mention right now, but I do want to talk more in depth later, is community. Good little segue into the later bit at the end, but community is a big part with doing that, maximizing your small space, and yeah, doing things like that.
Your job here is to take back your food source, reclaim it, become that small family farm that's going to feed your local community so they stop shopping at Walmart. Okay? That is your job. That's why you guys are all sitting here right now. Whether or not you want to put the work into it, because you have to put the work into it. Whether or not you want to stay up until 1 o'clock in the morning, possibly writing a product to sell on your website as passive income. Something as simple as 5 jam recipes on strawberry season. You wouldn't believe how many people will buy that. Okay? So you gotta do and walk the walk and talk the talk, and that's how you're going to, number one, be known in your community, and number two, be able to make a living. Okay? You want to live this life. You want to have that food for yourself, right? But there are people who don't want to live this life, but they just want the food. And so they have two options. Go to Walmart and buy that stuff that's all crap-based, right? Or eat something that's clean and healthy, and they understand where real food comes from and how it tastes.
So I think this one, I can say for both of us, was definitely our favorite lecture of the whole 2-day period. All were great. I'm going to be honest. The ones that I went to, majority of the ones, they were all great. Y'all talked about topics that were just really informational. Y'all were very passionate about it. The lectures, they were all really good. Very well done. But Anne Asita Scott, a farm girl in the making, I'm like, hands down, was just my favorite. And the reason why is because the way she just described everything and explained it all, it made sense. It really made sense. And her lecture was so high quality. It was just done so well.
Yeah.
She incorporated not only all the facts that she was covering, she also included her pieces of herself. You could just see her personality shining through from her own experiences. She also added a little bit of the comedic relief. It was just all very well put together. It made sense.
Yeah.
And it just really hit different with us to a point where as soon as we got home from Homesteaders of America, we took action on this lecture. So do you want to go through the notes about what she talked about, and then after I can tell them what all we've been doing from this?
Yeah. Her lecture was about a profitable homestead, no matter the size, which I'm going to say it goes hand in hand with Jill Reagan's, just because it's
maximizing and using what you have.
And
honestly, it goes with Sean and Beth too. It's using what you have, and in their case, it's a permaculture plan, using what you have, and obviously using it to your ability. But for these two specifically, it's using what we have, but making it into a profit.
Big things for her. She was self-taught. She did not come from a generational farmer by any means. She started on her own, and she taught herself what she's doing. She found her own mentors. She got out in the community. She did things, which community is a very big thing here. I do want to touch on that at the end. Succeed with failing is the best teacher in my own experience as well. You're going to fail, but you're going to succeed. Even when you're failing, you're still succeeding because you're gaining the knowledge to be able to continue and go farther later on. Sustainable living and preserving food. She also, one big thing that she did, don't fake it until you make it, teach what you know, which is a big part of what we do here. We don't try to teach things that we don't know, and if we don't know them, then we try to do more research before we bring them to the podcast.
We don't ever want to give you guys false information, and especially, I don't think either of us are comfortable talking on topics that we do not fully know. I know we have had off-camera conversations where it's like, hey, this would be a really great topic to bring onto the podcast. But then either both of us or one of us is going to have to go out of their way and learn something new that we don't feel comfortable really teaching you guys about because we ourselves don't really know this at all. Granted, we will go after, if we don't know something, we will go out and we will research this just to get a better idea of it. But I don't think we've ever done a topic where we have not incorporated it into our own lives, into our own farming, everything that we do. I don't think we've ever talked on a topic that we are not comfortable with. So,
and that's a big reason that we've held off on doing topics on a family milk cow or a flock of sheep or pigs or goats, things like, I mean, I've made a post on goats. That's not the point. We haven't brought a lot of information here because we weren't knowledgeable and we didn't want to be like, hey, this is the information where you should start, where we did not know where to start.
Exactly. If we are your research, we want our, information to actually be of use to you guys. And if you're coming across our video and saying, oh, let's learn about bees. Oh, bees make honey. That's pretty much all I know.
Yeah.
We want you guys to come onto our channel and see that, we're not, everything that we talk about is something that we are very passionate about and we have incorporated into our own lives and into our own farming and stuff like that. We're not faking it. This is honest to goodness, raw Reagan and Zachary. This is us. If you meet us in person, if you met us over the last 2 weekends, this is us.
And you said it yourself. We've had conversations off camera and we're both like, I feel like we've both brought it up a time or two where we're like, we don't really know what to like in our time of not planning. We were both like, we really don't know what to film. We could go off on a topic about goats, or we could do a topic on feeder pigs or whatever. And the other person was like, no, I mean, we could go off and we could talk about that, but it's not going to be reliable information. She talked a lot about, I won't go into a lot of it, but she talked about
it was a lot of techie things too. And I think that's another reason why it hit for us as well, because we obviously do all our stuff on the internet and media and stuff like that. That's what we do. We are like content creators, social media. We are in that world. That's just what we do. And so I think that's another reason why it made sense for us, because a lot of it was social media aspect and getting out there in that way.
And it was advertising, and what she really went into was partly this, but then partly what I'm going to go into in a moment. Photos are everything, and that's why if you have followed us on Instagram or wherever you follow us, we hope that you've seen that the photos we post aren't just us going out and getting a blurry photo in the garden.
Yeah.
We try to get thoughtful shots of knowing, hey, I'm going to use this. I'll mention one of my own, the bounty of the basket post that I did. I didn't just pick a picture of a chicken to put on the post about the bounty of the basket because it doesn't make a lot of sense. You want to have a picture that explains kind of what you're going to be talking about and using that. I had a picture of dead flowers, which I did touch on in there. They were half alive, half dead, half things like that, but it was beauty, which is beauty of, or the bounty of the basket or beauty of the harvest or something. I've used the picture a few times just because it's so versatile in that area. A lot of what other stuff she talked about was, like I said, making money off of your farm, and also whether that be selling to people through a membership program, which she talked about, or selling pigs. She also said which I know a lot of people do this, but she said she does not sell live feeder pigs. She only sells them after they've been processed because you can't really make any money off of a live feeder pig. But different, just different ways of selling things, selling what you have, whether if you're harvesting 200 chickens and you know you're going to be doing that a few times, you have more than enough chicken to put up, but also give out to other people or sell to other people, whoever. I try to keep a good balance when I'm doing that. Um, I do prefer selling my stuff, like eggs, for example. I do prefer selling them. But if somebody came to me and they were like, we're in a situation, we really just need something, and I'd be like, okay, this is fine. How many dozen do you need? Like, I'm not going to deny any. I know it doesn't make sense, like business
Right.
standpoint, just
Yeah.
because of how small I am now. But I have that extra excess to be like, hey, if you really need them, I can get them.
Um, you and me are both also not on the same scale that she is. Obviously, she has a farm already. We are obviously not at that point, but using what we have right now, and obviously it definitely planted a seed for us in the future of like ideas of what we could use on future farms and what we can do right now. And so I'm going to talk real quick about what we're doing right now. And that is obviously from the social media standpoint. We have, since HOA, gotten on a couple new platforms. This would be our first announcement of it. We started a blog. This is huge for us because both of us, yeah, seriously, a round of applause for that. Me and Zach love writing. Me and Zach are we love to write. We love to type things out.
We're very blessed in that aspect.
Yeah. So words for us, it really helps us portray a thought, a picture, maybe needs a little bit more description. It helps us like get the information out there better. So we thought it would be great to like get out there in some different ways. So we started a blog. I can link that. It's in all our links. If you click that link down below in the description, it'll take you to literally everything. So if you want to check that out, go click that below. But yeah, that was definitely a huge thing for us that we took on, and I think it'll be really good just to add to the podcast. We're waiting in line.
Justin Rose.
Because who doesn't love this?
Zachary, and tell me what this is all about.
From the Farmyard Podcast, where we talk and a bunch of topics from the farmyard.
Yeah. What was the last time? I don't mind.
We have video tomorrow.
But I mean, like, if you're fine and you want to take it off, you're more than welcome to, but you don't mind.
Okay, so now where did you meet? Where are you now?
Instagram. She's still on Instagram.
You met on Instagram? You started DMing each other?
Yeah.
There we just started the podcast.
You'd be surprised how long I waited to get them just so they would make it good for you. And where did you stay?
It's both of our separately.
Both are separately,
It's so common, but
it is so.
congrats.
We were really excited to meet them, and I do want to talk on this because, I mean, me and Reagan have talked about this, obviously, but it was really inspiring seeing the people that you've watched for years on YouTube. Like, I've watched Jill for years. I've watched Justin for years. They're the ones, like, I consider them my mentors in gardening. And to see them was, I don't know, kind of like you're real type thing. Me and Reagan have gone through that same thing when we first met. We were like, you're a real person.
Yeah,
And-
man. Zach has a bottom half. He has the legs.
But it's things like that, and it's like they helped me through a lot of my beginning and struggling and a lot of stuff. But they were super down to earth. Justin and Rebecca were both super down to earth, amazing people, incredibly funny as well. Yeah. Do you have anything that you want to add to that?
It was because I had went the year before you, I had already gotten this vibe. So like obviously going into this year, I knew these people would be here, and I just already knew ahead of time like yeah, I know I've seen these people in person, and it's amazing because you really do start to not idolize, but you really put them on a pedestal, and you're just like, man, like these people are famous, and you meet them in person, and they really are down to earth people like you and me. Obviously, they've got on social media, a lot more followers, a lot more subscribers, but honestly, that can and that can't change who you are. And for these people, it doesn't change who they are in person. Yeah. For some people, yeah, followers and social media stuff, the numbers, that's all that matters to them. And whenever they get those numbers, they get those followers, they think, oh yeah, like I am this. And then they get on that attitude and they take that on. And then it really does. It changes your whole perspective of them when you meet them in person. But whenever we met like these people in person, Justin Rhodes, Rebecca, it was just like, these are like in the homesteading world, like these people are up there. And it was just like, for us, we were just like, oh my gosh, you're famous. Like, that's just what it was.
Yeah, it's anybody who, I mean, a lot of people started following, I mean, 2020, everybody knows what happened. But during that time, everybody started looking to gardening and to homesteading, chickens. Homesteaders already had that content. So it was really like, hey, here's what you need to get started. And it was really incredible just to see them. And it was all of them. Every single person was just Justin and Rebecca. They were all so down to earth, where you said it, we kind of put them on a pedestal above other people. Mm-hmm. But that, seeing them and seeing that it doesn't get to their head in that sense. I mean, maybe it does, and they just do a good job at hiding it. I don't know, but from meeting them, they're just good people. And I think a lot of homesteaders and things like that we really don't care about numbers or things like that. Yeah, it's great, but we don't care about that.
Yeah.
What we want is to build community, which I have mentioned quite a few times is community, but it's very important.
Obviously with all the lectures we went to, along with learning a lot of things, we also met a lot of amazing people. And I think that was also a really great experience of the overall Homesteaders of America. We met a lot of different content creators, a lot of different, obviously, people that we've looked up to on social media. We get to meet them in person. We got pictures with them. If you want to see the pictures again, follow us on social media, Instagram. We have a Facebook group too. We did just do that. Also the blog. I think you're gonna do a blog post. Yeah. We're able to meet a lot of really amazing people, and getting to see, obviously, like we said, all the people that we've looked up to in person was great. But even getting to see, guys, I'm gonna be honest, our fans, where were you?
We were there supporting each other.
Exactly. I asked Zach to sign my wristband. That's how excited I was to see him. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, guys. We wanted to see a fan club. Yeah. See?
Got it right here.
Exactly. Right here, I signed his book.
We did have some people that never heard of come up to us and just start conversations, which were incredibly, the conversations, it wasn't just, hey, you do YouTube, what's this, like, whatever. It was actually getting to know people. Josh at Heartway Farms was one of those people, and just a lot of fun to meet in person. And since watched a few videos of his, it was just, they were incredibly nice people.
If you're watching this, thank you for doing that, for coming up and like asking us about our podcast, because obviously we are wearing bright yellow t-shirts. We wanted to be noticed, and like it was just, we were very thankful that you came up to us and noticed us. Like, thank you. We really wanted to talk about the podcast.
Yes, thank you. But it was a lot of fun to meet people like that, people that we'd heard of, people that we had never heard of. We had got a picture, which you follow us on social media, you'll see. We have pictures with the Homestead, along with, I think, almost everybody else that we've talked about in here. One of the things that I want to touch on with, because this isn't like the end, but it's like not a recap either, but meeting people. A lot of them, every single person that we met, whether it was Heartway Farms, Jill Reagan, Jill Winger, the Homestead, anybody else that we got pictures with, every single person in every single lecture mentioned community, which I thought was really, really important. Whether they all planned that, I don't know, or it's really just that big of a thing. Finding a mentor, and talked about other people were trying to go out and be like, hey, people want to know where to get started, and they just don't know where to get started at. Help them, reach out, be a voice in that community. If you're looking out and you're trying to find different, like, a seed get together in your area and there isn't one, start one. And that was a really big thing. I mean, I know it depends on area. Like my area, I could get a seed, get together really quickly. You would have a harder time doing that where you
because I
are,
live in the
but
boonies.
but it's doing
I
things like
my
that,
get
and
my get together would be with Bigfoot.
he's not bad to get with.
I
He's stayed
guess
hidden.
if he'd come.
The all-time winner of hide and seek, I'm telling you. But yeah, community was a big part. Everybody talked about it. And you just really met that, or you really got that feeling from everybody. Everybody was there for a reason, and it was to build community. Whether people disagreed with how you did things, they disagreed with you, but it's not about disagreeing with people. It's about just creating the community, no matter how big, how small, whether you have a bunch of interests or same things in common with somebody, or you have nothing in common with somebody, but they want to learn, build that community. Um,
Community is key with this life, and we truly find that
you can't do it
because
alone.
no, you really, even if you're skilled, you're skilled at this trade. If you're not skilled at this trade, community is it is really important. Finding the people in your area that, if you're skilled, finding the people in your area that want to buy your products. If you're not skilled, finding the people in your area that are skilled and learning from them and finding your mentors. Community is key. And when you go to Homesteaders of America, not only do you see that, but you feel it. And I think that is just one of the coolest things. And I love going there because I just feel this overwhelming, it's like a welcome spirit. Because honestly, as a farmer, as a homesteader, I don't fit in with other people. I don't want to fit in with other people personally.
Who wants to? Is the real thing.
Seriously. But when I go to Homesteaders of America, I find my group. These are my people. I love you guys. I look forward to coming to Homesteaders of America. It's just, it honestly is. It's a vibe that you get, and in the whole weekend, it's just so much love and support. There's so much support, guys. I mean, people are just cheering you on. Like, obviously, we all started somewhere. And even if it was, like Anne said, she does these events where she sells chicks whenever the chicks comes around. And when she sells the chicks, chick season, the kids come. And when the kids come, she plants a seed. Like, yeah, these are chickens. This is where eggs come from. This is your food. And it's planting a seed. All these people started, all these farmers, these homesteaders, these people that I met, even in my hotel lobby, we were talking about sauerkraut. Like, come on. These people all started somewhere. A seed was planted, whether it was from a random YouTube video from two kids on the internet, or they saw somebody raising chickens, their neighbor, or somebody was growing zucchini and gave them a zucchini, and they thought, man, that's a dang good zucchini. I need to learn how to do that. A seed was planted, and it all starts somewhere, and everybody knows that. I will do my hardest to support someone that is new to this, and that's why we have this podcast. Y'all, we are here to support you and to inspire you and to educate you. We want you to grow. This is not a hobby or a trade that we just want to keep to ourselves. We want to publicly share this information with you because it is important. This is important, and especially in the world that we are living in right now, we really need to take hold of this information, and we need to start learning how to become self-sufficient and growing food off of our property, because you never know what could happen. And I think HOA was huge for that, seeing that community and that constant support from other people that I've never met in my life. but they just want you to do your best. And that, it really hit different. It really did.
And it's about continuing to learn always. I mean, I agree with everything you said, but it's about continuing to learn as well. Learning from your community. I mean, like, let's just say, if I'm going to go and get a cow right now, I'm not just going to go out and do that. I'm going to try to form a relationship with the person that I'm buying that cow from, so that I'm connected to that person and I'm able to ask my questions too. I do that with my ducks right now. But it's nobody who was there, at least this is the vibe that I got, nobody, in my opinion, put themselves in a position that said, I'm a master of this. Because in my opinion, calling yourself a master, you're done learning. You've learned all there is to learn and you're finished. Nobody, even people who, like Justin and Rebecca and people like us who they've never met or anything, nobody was just like, we don't have time for this. Let's talk for a second, let's build a community, and let's grow together and help each other up along the way. And that was a really big thing for the entire weekend, as Reagan said.
So, HOA 2023, we had a blast. Super awesome to be out here with a lot of like-minded people, to be able to fellowship with other content creators. We met a lot of people and we had a lot of fun. And we hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and we will see you all in the next one. Bye.